Donald Trump is preparing to impose a sweeping 20% global tariff on all imports, sparking fears of a global recession and financial turmoil. Markets in the Asia-Pacific region reacted sharply. Japan's Nikkei plunged 3.6%. South Korea's Kospi fell 2.29%. Australia's S&P/ASX 200 dropped 1.62%. And Taiwan's Taiex declined nearly 4%. Trump, who has long advocated for tariffs, is pressuring his team to finalize the details ahead of Liberation Day on April 2nd. His advisors are considering a sweeping tariff plan with few exemptions, which would affect nearly all U.S. trading partners. Initially, Trump promoted reciprocal tariffs, matching what other nations charge, but now he seems intent on more aggressive blanket measures. Stock markets are experiencing heightened volatility, with growing fears of a recession. Barclays' Ajay Rajadhyaksha warns, if trade wars worsen, a recession is a realistic risk. Bruce Kasman, chief economist at J.P. Morgan, estimates a 40% chance of a recession, as the proposed tariffs could push U.S. core inflation to over 4% next quarter. This would force households to dip into savings to cope with the rising cost of goods and services. The U.S. stock market has faced heavy losses. Nasdaq Composite is on track for its worst month since 2022, while the S&P 500 has slumped 6.3%, marking its worst performance since 2023 September 2022. Some of Trump's aides privately hope that his concern for the stock market will discourage him from implementing the most extreme measures, but insiders suggest otherwise. If the economy tanks, fine, he believes it will rebound and that countries will eventually cave, one source said. Economists warn that tariffs would lead to price increases on cars, groceries, housing, and more, straining household budgets. Corporate profits would likely decline, and economic growth could slow. While Trump maintains that tariffs will encourage companies to relocate manufacturing to the U.S., experts argue that this process could take years, and the immediate effects will be felt by consumers. When asked about the potential for rising car prices due to a 25% tariff on auto imports, Trump responded bluntly in an NBC News interview, "I couldn't care less. If foreign cars get more expensive, people will buy American." Inside the White House, tensions are high. Vice President J.D. Vance, Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, and Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent are pushing for a more structured, targeted approach to avoid economic instability. But Trump seems committed to his plan. Even his closest aides admit uncertainty about his next moves. "No one knows what the fi is going on," one White House ally told Politico. Trump has suggested that over $1 trillion in trade could be affected by the tariffs, but key details, such as which countries will be targeted, which goods will be levied, and the specific rates, remain undecided and are shifting frequently. White House officials have worked hard to reassure business leaders and lawmakers that a stable trade policy is on the horizon, but markets, still rattled by past tariff announcements, have erased all gains made since the election in November. Trump's approach has been inconsistent. "I may give some countries breaks," he said recently, only to insist days earlier, "every country will be hit with a tariff." As the deadline approaches, officials are bracing for the unexpected. "We're preparing for anything," one insider confessed. The lack of clarity and consistency is causing confusion among businesses, financial markets, and foreign governments, all of which are struggling to prepare for the impact of Trump's trade policies. As the deadline nears, uncertainty continues to hang over the global economy, with little indication of what the future holds.